Well, it's not quite the picturesque sunrise today. There's no sun. It is a miserable morning, my word. I don't know if you saw the bird down there, but he's enjoying it. Yeah, very miserable start to the day. I want to talk about Michail Antonio and the current contract situation with him. So, as we all know, terrible accident end of last year. He had a car accident. He was lucky to be alive, let's be honest. Very lucky to be alive, Antonio. Terrible car accident. Yeah, not good. And I remember reporting on it. We talked about it on here, and it was quite tough to do because it was quite a big moment where we all thought that there was a period when you thought he ain't going to make it. The reports weren't looking good for Antonio. It was really bad. So to see him come through like he has, it's amazing. Obviously he survived, and not only that, he's doing well. He's training. He's trying to work to get back to fitness. It's remarkable. It's a miracle, really. But there was always that question mark, wasn't there, this season? Was he going to come back? Was he going to have to come back in time? That kind of stuff. And what were the club going to do because of his contract situations? Basically, like many others, his contract is running out this season. West Ham, of course, have released Aaron Creswell, have released Fabianski, Sue Fowl, Danny Ings. They were announced as official. Also letting go of Kurt Zuma, of course. His contract expires. He's been on loan, but his contract expires. The club haven't even mentioned that, really. But anyway, so I think it's a bit of a shame because he's been a big player for us. But anyway, but Antonio's name was quiet, never mentioned anything. And when Graham Potter's been asked about Michail Antonio's situation, the contract, he's always said, well, we'll let you know, we'll make an announcement when the time's right. So what's happened is West Ham have offered Michail Antonio a new contract, which I've got to be honest, I was a bit concerned straight away. However, the details of the contract are, I don't know the numbers, by the way, so I've just got to go very off loosely of what I know, is that it's a short-term contract, so I'm going to guess 12 months. I believe it to be around that. I don't think it'd be any less than that. It might be 6, but I would say it's a 12-month contract. On a low wage. Low wage, I mean, if you look at Michail Antonio, I'm guessing 15, 20 grand a week, something like that. But it's very bonus incentive. So it's, if you appearances and goals, things like that. So appearances, I'm guessing a couple hundred grand for an appearance, something 100 grand a goal, something like that. Just because basically what West Ham are saying to Michail Antonio is that we don't even know if you're going to play again. We're concerned. We don't know about your fitness. We don't know because you're coming back off a terrible injury. He broke his leg, really badly in that car accident. Not to mention the other health implications it has, a car accident. It's not just fracture, is it? It's organ damage, anything else, we don't know, do we? We don't know how bad Antonio is. But obviously, he's very confident. Michail Antonio is a confident guy, and he's making it very clear that he's going to be back playing, he's going to be back available to West Ham, etc., etc. Well, he said he'd be back this season, and that isn't going to happen. But, I'm not having a go at him for that. But, the humble saying is, what sometimes he wants to happen isn't necessarily is going to happen. So him saying, I'm going to be back, well, you can't guarantee that. So, and there clearly is no guarantees because West Ham aren't willing to offer him a contract extension and keep the same package he's on at the moment. Now, I've got to be honest, I personally feel that Michail Antonio, not only is he lucky to be alive, he's lucky to be in a position where he's been offered anything. Because we've just released 4 players, and you could argue, certainly Aaron Creswell has been a more important player to us, certainly this season. I know Antonio's been injured, but what Creswell's offered us this season has been more in terms of what we've been able to get from Michail Antonio. I'm talking pre-car accident for Antonio here. I thought that he's had injury concerns, his form hasn't been great. We've always moaned and we complained amongst fans that we're always too reliant. Why are we still relying on Antonio? We've got to move on from this. And he hasn't been, what I'm saying, is the most reliable, just recently anyway. I feel like prior to the accident, I did feel this is probably going to be his last season anyway. I was struggling to see him get a new contract. I feel, I'm not sure. It's very 50-50. And that's before the accident. So the fact that now we've had this accident, he hasn't kicked a ball since, and West Ham are offering him a contract, I think really, he could count himself in a good position, really, and very fortunate one. Now, the situation is that Antonio's rejecting the offer. As far as we understand it, the Antonio camp are now saying, well, we want a better deal, and we've got better offers on the table. I mean, I've got to be honest, I'm quite disappointed. I don't really want to hear that. I kind of get this art of negotiation. They might be saying, well, we haven't really got off and we want to get a better deal if we can for our client. I do kind of understand that, but I don't like the fact it's coming out in public. I feel like it's not a good look. It's almost like there's a fallout happening here, and I'm thinking, well, there shouldn't be. There definitely should not be. I think, well, for the fact West Ham are offering a contract to see you through while you recovery, then to see where you are. Obviously, on the basis then, if you come back and prove yourself, then we can come back to the table and say, I'll tell you what, we'll come up with a better deal. Because regardless, although Antonio's getting on a bit, I'm having a go, and like I know I said there was that concern whether he's going to be getting a new deal prior to the crash. He has proved effective for West Ham, and let's be honest, if we're being truthful here, if you look at the last 10 years of West Ham, Michail Antonio has been our best striker, without doubt, in terms of the longevity, the goals. I mean, he's had record Premier League goal scorer. He's a big player for West Ham. And let's be honest, beast mode Antonio on the bench is still an attractive option to have. I'm not necessarily saying he's got no part to play, but come on, I mean, you don't even know if you're going to play again. So I think it's disappointing actually. This is how it's sort of playing out at the moment. I don't like the fact it's in public. I don't like the fact that it's not coming across very nice. I'm just a bit disappointed. I do hope it gets resolved, because one way or another, because I'm not really buying this whole there's loads of offers on the table, because I can't think of anyone that would want to buy a player that might not play again. Do you know what I mean? It seems, who would do that? So I'm not buying that. So my belief is it will get resolved. I'm sure. I'd be very surprised to see Antonio go, no, do you know what? I'm off. I'm out. I'm going to go and join whoever. I'd find that very strange to see. But maybe West Ham have got to call their bluff on it and just say, well, look, we're not going to up their offer, because I can't see how West Ham can up the offer. If West Ham turn around and say, I'll tell you what, sod it, we'll give you $100,000 a week, I'd be furious. It just seems ridiculous. So yeah, a bit disappointed the way things are playing at the moment in terms of the Antonio's deal, and we'll obviously have to wait and see how it moves forwards. We're hoping that we're going to get some news soon, and hopefully it does get resolved. I've got no problem with Antonio signing a short-term deal, whether it be on a lesser wage, see where he gets through. I think it's not a bad thing for the club to do, and as I say, we need to also be mindful of the fact that West Ham are absolutely shocking at signing strikers. We are horrendous at it. We've had 15 years under Sullivan and that. I mean, how many strikers have we gone through, and how many have worked out? It's just a never-ending list of failures. So the fact we've got Antonio still available, let's just say he is fit and available. He can play Premier League football again, but he's going to be someone that can come on and play 60 minutes at best. I mean, let's not forget he was only up to playing an hour anyway prior to the injury, prior to the accident. Do you know what I mean? But if you've got someone that can come off the bench and help out a little bit, and also be around the club because he's a big character, just bearing in mind we're losing a lot of players this summer, and having someone like Antonio around is not a bad thing, I don't think. And also, I personally, for me, I would be saying, I'll give you a short-term deal, Antonio, get your fitness back up, but really we want to start gearing you up for another role at the football club. Get him involved in the academy, get him involved maybe in the presenting side. He's a big character. Get him involved at the football club, do you know what I mean? Because he's a big character, and I think he's useful to keep around in that regard. But I certainly wouldn't be offering him a bloody $100,000 a week for playing contract. No way. No one's going to be doing that. So yeah, disappointed really how things are happening at the moment. But I really do hope it gets resolved. Transfer update later on. I'll come back to that later. So that'll be out this evening. But I think Tom will also have a video as well later on. So yeah, until then, have a good one and enjoy the weather. Go on, you ones.